Hey, high five! You've made it to lesson 5. That's awesome. So this is your last lesson, and after this you will know the basics of Photoshop and will no longer be a Dumbo head. Awesome! Let's get started. So in this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to use some of the selection tools that you see right here in the first three little icons. They all have different functionalities, so we'll get into it. Make sure your layers are again open, and again, auto select allows you to just click on one of your flowers and then you can see it highlights in the layers panel. So I'm just gonna click off of these other guys because I just want to be able to really focus on this one flower. Alright, so the first thing you're gonna see is this little dotted line in the rectangle. And if you click on it, see how it has that little icon in the corner? That means you can click on it and there are other options. So the rectangle and the ellipse tool, you can also press M on the keyboard to select either of these. And basically what it does is just creates a little circle and selects your item. So like very basic, this is what is selected, and you can like move it around, figure out where you want to be, and then let's say I just want to hit delete. So literally everything that's selected there is deleted. I'm going to hit undo. Alright, and then if you want to deselect, come to select, deselect, which is also Command D on your keyboard. Okay. So that's like nice if you're trying to get like a really clean line. Like let's say I wanted a good edge, I could just do that. Okay, so that you kind of understand. Alright, so the next tool is your lasso tool, which you can get by clicking L on the keyboard. And you have 3 different options here. So the first option is a basic drawing option, so you have to be have kind of a steady hand to be able to use this option. But like if you just have a small area to cut out, then it's really not that bad. So let's say I just want to select this one leaf here. What I'm going to do is click and start drawing. Hold down your mouse and start drawing around the edge here. And then where the rest of the leaf isn't touching anything, you can just kind of come around it and then just come to where you started and release. Okay, so now this leaf is selected and there are a lot of things I can do with it. I can recolor it, so if you click Command U like we did in the last video, you can darken it, lighten it, you can decrease the saturation, you know, whatever you want to do, you can control this leaf. You can also delete it if you don't like it. You can, let's see, like you want to use the erase tool and you just want to go really fast, you can, and like it's only going to erase in the selected area, so it's not going to hurt anything else. Okay, so I'm going to deselect. The next selection tool is the Polygonal Lasso tool, and that is basically like straight lines. So like let's say we wanted to again select this leaf, you have to click and then your line kind of comes around when you release and you have to click again. So you're basically creating a lot of little points. So I'm going to click here, click here, click here, click here, click here, click, and then you can just come around it and come back to your starting point. When you see that little O come beside your icon, that means you're ready to close the loop. So you can click there and now your icon is selected. Okay. So I'm going to deselect and I'm going to show you the next one. This is the magnetic lasso tool. So let's say you have a hard time kind of keeping your hands steady and like creating a selection around a certain shape. You can use this tool and it kind of guesses and like figures out where you want to select for you. So you just click one time and then you just start moving your mouse and drawing, and don't click again, and it'll automatically start creating dots for you. So it can kind of figure out where you're going. So I'm just going to keep drawing around this shape. And then click when I get finished. So that actually worked really well for this selection tool. All right, so I'm going to deselect. And I'm going to come down to this guy, the magic wand tool. This is one of my favorites. I use this all the time. So if you hold down on it, you can see the quick selection tool and the magic wand. Let's just start with the quick selection. So up here you're going to see some different options. This kind of shows you what it's selecting, like what size it's selecting at. So 15 pixels is going to be a little bit faster, but it's also less specific. So like if you lowered it a little bit, you might get a better selection. See, I just clicked on this once and it automatically highlighted everything, but it's cutting it off right here. So I'm going to click again, click again, click again. So now we have this leaf like pretty well outlined. Actually, that worked really well. And like you can keep adding, like if you wanted to select both of these and then again like recolor just these parts, you can do that. So this is the adding more selection, this is minusing. So let's say you have this all selected and then you decide, oh, I don't really want this piece. You can come to the minus and then you can also drag, click and drag. You can either just do little clicks or click and drag. So like you don't want these areas, you don't want this area, so it's deselecting just that part. So now you have all of this, which is great. Okay, and then the next one is the magic wand tool. Now I use this a lot in pattern designs, which is why the tolerance is at 1, because I'm selecting a very clean graphic. Now because there's so many pixels in our flower here, this probably isn't going to work very well for us. Because if I click on it, it's literally just selecting 1 pixel, as you can see when I zoom in. It's selected that 1 pixel. It's basically like selecting 1 color. It has the tolerance for 1 color. And you can play with the anti-alias and the contiguous, which basically means how clean you're getting it. So if I click anti-alias, you can see like it's selecting a few more pixels. And then contiguous basically means, am I selecting in just this one area that you clicked, or am I selecting across the entire layer? So if I come down and I unclick contiguous, you see it's like, it's showing up in other parts of the design. Like you can see these pixels are being selected like kind of all over the design. So I'm going to increase our tolerance to 20 and let's see what that does. So now you can see it's basically like getting really specific on that one little color and selecting it throughout that design. So you can change that one color throughout. This might not be super practical for a watercolor. Like I would probably use some of the other selection tools for watercolor. But again, like this is fine for doing more graphic work, like pattern work, or something that's a little bit more flattened and doesn't have like millions of pixels going on. Yeah, so those are basically your selection tools, and they're really fun to play with and can be really useful, especially in watercolor designs. Yay!